Welcome back to movementprofessional.com. So this is a home exercise I recently prescribed to a client who was having difficulty coming up from a squat. She said she had no problem getting down there, but then the transition up, she got some low back pain, a little bias to the right. So what I wanted to do is give her some exercises to help stabilize that transition coming up and to get some engagement in the deep core, the pelvic floor, as well as the inner thighs proximally where they attach to the pelvis. So what I'm going to have her do is start in sitting at the chair that's about at a 90-degree hip angle, so 90-degree flexion in the knees, 90 degrees at the hip, approximately there. With something to put between the knees, I'll use a block in this case. And the starting posture should be such that if you look at me from the side, that the ribs are right over this, the lateral ribs are right over the pelvis here. So we don't want to be leaning forward. We don't want to be slouched back. We want to be ribs right over the pelvis and not working too hard to be here. So any type of tension creating this motion here is actually going to kick our tailbone back a little bit, and it's going to arch our back in such a way that it moves the ribs forward. So we can't actually be working too hard to get here. We just want to feel balanced ribs over the pelvis. All right, so then once we're in that posture and we can feel that, we want the idea initially to be just inhale into the belly, inhale into the lower back. See if you can breathe down into the pelvic floor a little bit. So it's a quiet inhale, so everything's as low as can be, and then the exhale is going to be a little bit more aggressive. It's a slow inward motion of the abdomen, an upward motion of the pelvic floor, and then an inward motion of the femurs or the thigh bones into the groin. We're not over squeezing the block, we're just trying to maintain the block so it doesn't fall, and that should make us feel the upper inner thighs a little bit better, along with the abdomen and pelvic floor at the same time. So then we're going to do 5 breaths there. Inhale, expand, wide into the ribs, belly forward, lower back goes back, feet are well planted. Exhale, belly button into the spine, up with the pelvic floor, into the socket with the femurs, and then the heels should stay heavy. Okay, so we'll do 5 breaths there, take a break, and then after that we're going to do some up and down or sit to stands from there. So what we want to try to accomplish here is, as we create that exhalation in all of those muscle contractions, we want to be able to maintain them as we transition up without leaning forward too much. So we'll take the same inhale, we'll exhale, find all of those muscles, belly button in, pelvic floor up, inner thighs into the socket. Then we're going to punch forward to create a little bit of a reach, but we want to try to minimize how much we're going forward there and think straight up as much as possible. So this initial transition here, we shouldn't lose any muscles that we gained while we were just sitting, and we're trying to go up. So that should be a hard transition up there. If it's too easy, that means we used too much momentum and just went forward. So there's going to be definitely some forward lean, but we want to just try to minimize that as much as possible and make the central muscles here of belly button to spine, the deep abdominals, pelvic floor up, and then inner thighs be maintained from what we had in sitting as we transition up. All right, so we can do 5 reps to 10 reps of that depending on how fatigued we get and how challenging it is, and then take a little break and do 3 to 5 sets of that. If you have any questions, comment below or go to movementprofessional.com. I'll see you next time.